It's a party.
Ooh.
What did you say? The PDX gang stuff?
New toys for the boys.
I know.
And gal.
Hello. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, let's welcome everybody. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Welcome back.
To another episode of...
Everything.
And... Nothing.
I know. Everything and nothing. It feels so weird just saying half of that. I always feel like after you say nothing, I have to say the full sentence because it just feels so unfinished for me.
Well, I mean, some people need
everything
completion.
And nothing.
I've lived a life of dissatisfaction and non-completion where I'm just, waiting for the next day.
That's funny. Oh, well, what Dane was mentioning earlier is we got some new sound gear.
We did. We're trying it out.
And
broke it out of the box, and here we go.
I think it already sounds amazing. I hope that's because we've been having some sound difficulties, as you all have witnessed.
Well, part of getting a new toy is you have to learn how the toy works.
Yeah.
We got new preamps a while ago, which has helped tremendously, and then we added a tube amp and a compressor on top. So warmed us up, brightened us up, and hopefully just make it sound a little better for you guys.
Yeah. I'm excited. It already sounds better in my earphones.
In my head.
It
sounds great.
Anyway, we welcome. I'm your host, guide, fellow traveler, Anezka.
And I'm SumOne.
And thanks for taking some time to join us today. Wherever you are, we hope you're doing well.
We do.
And I just have to say before we get started with today's topics that after our last topic, for mine was about this whole male-female thing. I really did a lot of work this last 2 weeks. I mean, I kind of been getting my butt kicked and doing some deep diving. And I just wanted to share that because I feel like these podcasts are kind of like catalysts for change. And just so you guys know, I don't just come here and say a bunch of stuff and then go off and like, whatever. It's like I really take it to heart. And I've really had a lot of transformations and a lot of healing in my heart this last 2 weeks. So I just wanted to share that before we move on to new stuff.
That is the power of conversation.
Yeah.
The power of putting ideas out there, looking at them, challenging them, finding different angles on them. And I mean, hopefully we're trying to have a discussion with anybody out there as well. This is more than a two-way. This is a three-way, a four-way, a multiple-way street where hopefully we're all just here trying to learn, trying to look, trying to ask these questions of our own self just to understand ourselves and what we believe to an even better level. Yeah,
just help and just to, make change. Because I believe if you want change in the world, you got to, start with yourself. So here we are, another conversation. And I believe I'm first today.
Number 26.
Number 26. And I'm not dreading it today at all. So sometimes I'm like, I don't want to go first. Today I'm happy to go first. So all this catalyst really led me to some really powerful changes in my life. And I may talk about those, but what it led me to was dreams. And not the kind of dreams where when you go to sleep, your dream life, dreaming, like what are dreams? Like what motivates us? Where do our dreams come from? Our visions for the future. How can we move through? Like what blocks our dreams? Like what are your dreams today? I want to uncover what your dream is today. What's my dream today? And how is that a part of the human experience? And why is it so important for us to dream? Especially right now.
You're talking dreams of like aspiration.
Yes.
And almost
visions.
In another way to define it, like a hope for like where you want your brighter future to be. Where is your horizon? What direction are you aiming to go?
Your intent, your goals for like, like I want to talk about dreams.
I will say, I've had this conversation with multiple people over multiple times. And I've talked to several friends back in the past, and some people don't even know what they want or what their dreams are. So this is a good question to dive into. What are they and where do they come from and how then do we work towards achieving them?
Exactly.
I guess is the main point, right?
Yeah.
But I would say a dream really comes from, first of all, having a baseline intelligence. We all have an intelligence of what we understand the world to be, what we understand ourselves to be, and how those two things interplay and overlay one another.
Yeah.
And so you understand where the world is in your mind and how you fit into that. But then you have an idea of you want to fit in a slightly different way. And a lot of people dream of, more freedom or more joy or more happiness or less dependency on a grind of a job they don't like, or having a stronger sense of family or friendships. So we all have a idea of some sort of progress that we want to make, and we're trying to get to that next grass is greener over the next fence kind of deal, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's interesting because you did mention a great thing. Yeah. So what is it then? Because I've been thinking about this, like, what is it that blooms that dream? And why do sometimes some of us like really go for it and other people just give up and be like, just going to watch TV or, like kind of live a life of mediocrity, and not really hope for anything or strive for anything, to get caught in this, swirl pool.
Swirl pool. I like that.
Like this, of like nothing, of nothingness, of like, I'll get up, I'll have a beer, I'll eat that bag of chips. Nobody really cares about what I do or don't do. Like I've been that place before. So I understand that dreamless state of human, being, of humanity too.
Well, I think we're all in that place almost every moment of every day. It's just in a couple pivotal moments where you take the risk or you make the effort to actually take action towards that dream. You have to be actively taking a step towards it.
Yes.
To not be in a, but yeah, typically going in a direction, you're in a spiral, and then you just go a little further down the river and you're in another spiral.
Yes.
Then you go a little further and you're in an eddy. And then, that eddy actually pulled you back a little bit. It's like we're in like a river more than a concrete path that you can just walk along. There's a lot of give and take, a lot of ebb and flow, a lot of back and forth.
Yes.
And from my own personal experiences, I have dreams. I have a lot of things I'd wish to accomplish. There's a lot of things in myself that I see that I want to improve and to bring and be better at. And most of the time, through most of the day, I still just go through subconscious, unconscious patterns that just kind of keep me in repetition. Comfort, we are creatures of comfort, and doing what we know for sure works is the most comfortable thing. Going home and watching TV after a long day of work, and then going to work, and then having the same conversations with the people you work with, and then going home and then doing the same routine at home. Maybe you get some dinner, order out, whatever you do. We are stuck in these what do you call them, swirl pools. And
Yes.
And so that is life. Life is just a repetition, a pattern.
It is a pattern.
Until you are actively taking a step outside of your comfort zone. And that is how you effectively move your progress meter.
Yeah. Well, and that just made me think of feng shui because, feng shui is that everything is alive, right? And either you're creating and the meter's moving up, or things are decaying and they're moving down. So we're constantly in this state every single day of either we're creating and moving our life forward, or we're kind of decaying and going backwards, because there is no nothing stage, And so for me, it's like, consciously being aware, like things might pause for a moment, but then, change is constant. It doesn't just take a break. It doesn't just stop. And so again, it's like, I don't know, I think for me, it's like with my dreams, it's starting to be more and more aware. And the shift started to happen for me in my life when I started like consciously again going into and writing down and studying and learning about dreams and about what I want to create and how can I do that. And that really was a pivotal moment in my life when I started realizing I had power over my life and what I could create, and then what are my dreams that I want to actually start pulling into, or how do I want to start directing my life towards something I want instead of defaulting towards what just happens.
And
this whirlpool.
Let's start at the beginning of this equation too, right? So the first part is, how do I come up with a dream that I can start working towards? And so we're all in these holding patterns. Even if your holding pattern is just, I'm just going to sit and do nothing for, 12 hours a day. You're in a whirlpool of just doing nothing. But in those whirlpools, if you are present, you learn in those moments. You absorb. You understand the surroundings. You understand the context of whatever that is. If it's just you're sitting on a porch for 12 hours a day, you start to learn the migratory patterns of birds. You start to understand what insects are there. You start to understand weather patterns. Like, no matter where you are, if you're paying attention, you are learning and you are refining the context of the world that you can then draw from. So I think the first step is just to really, to the best of your ability, understand what's going on around you and how it's affecting you. You have to see this interplay before you decide or before you can understand how you want to see that shifted.
And didn't you just say you have to know what you want? Did you say that too as step number one?
Yeah,
because I think that's probably also a big problem for people. They don't even really know what they want to dream for. Exactly. Oh, I want more money, but what does that mean? I mean, that could be like a million different scenarios. Like, what does that mean? So you have to get clear about who are you? What do you really want? Because it's in that observation that you were just talking about, like observe not only what's around you, but what's inside you. What feels good? What do you want to move towards? And I just wanted to tell a really quick story here, because when I first moved into my house that I live in now in Portland, Oregon, it was like 30 plus years ago. I was just beginning my feng shui career, and I really had this concept that the idea around my house was going to hold a mission statement of, heaven on earth. I wanted my house to embody heaven on earth. I wanted it to look beautiful. I wanted it to support me. I wanted it to feel sacred. I wanted it to feel nourishing. But I had so I set that goal. I set that dream out here. I didn't know what I liked. I didn't know what I liked. I didn't know what kind of architecture. I didn't know what colors. I didn't know what styles I liked. I didn't know anything. So for about the first 3 years, because I didn't have very much money and I was just barely making the payments on the house, I fortunately had people who needed places to store their furniture so for about the first little bit, I had, the revolving door of furniture being in our house. But during that time, I would look at pictures in magazines, and I would just rip things out and put it in a box, like, oh, I like that color, or, oh, I like this kind of design of this Asian garden, or I like this. And it was very eclectic. But it was from that I began to realize what I really liked and what I didn't like. And then over the years, it's like, my house is, I love my house now. It's just such an embodiment of my personality, and everything in it I absolutely love, and it nourishes me. But it took me a long time to figure out what that was, and then piece by piece to buy it, and piece by piece to paint it. And the other thing is it changed. My house changed, thousands of times within the last 30 years. It's not just stasis. It's just doesn't hold, So I think that's a brilliant place to start. Observing, and what do you want?
Yep. And it's from there that the dream can really start to take shape.
Yeah.
So once you understand what the world is a little bit around you and how you fit into that, and you have an idea, like I want a house or I want money, then the pieces start to come together. And I like the analogy of the collage, because I think the next step is to visualize. Mm-hmm. And I think the collage that you were using is a way to physically start to visualize pieces of how it all fits together. This color here, this kind of wood here, this garden here. And that's really what you want to do. Looking for more money, it's there's different ways to achieve that. So do I want to go find a job and a career? What does that job and career look like? What do I enjoy doing? What kind of things can I bring value to that I can, make the kind of money that I want to make? So you have to have the idea in your head of what the end goal looks like to some degree. And you're never going to achieve that perfect vision. But when you have an idea of what that final across the river bank looks like, then you can start to see the terrain of the water. You can start to see stepping stones that you can at least get to from now. And the picture becomes clearer. And hopefully, once that picture is clear enough, you can manifest it. And I say hopefully because it's I have a lot of big dreams right now, and I see off in the distance these grand visions, and I'm taking these small stepping stones. So this conversation also partly from what I'm saying right here is from a perspective of faith.
Yeah.
I have small examples of having achieved this idea of like, you know, you have an idea, you have a dream, and you achieve it. But I'm working on some bigger tater tots right now.
Yeah, and I want to hear about those in a minute, but I want to go back because I think that's a really good part of this step-by-step dreaming and knowing what you want to dream, because sometimes it's like there's a lot of learning in this. And because I didn't really know how to put a house together, I haven't taken any interior design classes. I didn't really feel confident with color, you know, so there was also this learning process. I had to study and learn and see how things land and feel in my body and then try things out. Like, nope, that wasn't it. And I think that's the other part of dreaming, is that there's going to be a lot of no's until you get to the yes. Because I was like, oh, I want to make money being a dental assistant. So excited. I got into it and I'm like, I hate this. I was like, I hate this. It's like a glorified, you know, cleaner. It's like all I was doing was cleaning up gross, bloody dental instruments and hearing people complain. I mean, nobody likes the dentist. And, you know, it was miserable. I was like, oh my God, this is not, you know. So that was a no. And then I thought, oh, I want to make money this way. You know, that was a no. So sometimes like you want to make money, but what I realized is, because I was like, at one point I was like, oh, I want to make all this money. And then I was working and stressed out. I'm like, oh, I actually don't want to make that much money if it means this kind of lifestyle. So I think that's the exciting part about dreaming is, you know, just inviting yourself to just get clear about who you are and then having the courage to just try something. Be decisive. Who cares if it's wrong? Change it. That's my new thing. Be decisive. I'm done like, I don't know, it might work, it might not. Oh, F it. Just fucking make a decision and try something.
Exactly. Take some action. Well, each one of those jobs is effectively being stuck in a whirlpool that you're learning from.
Yeah.
You had an idea, you elevated to that next level. I think one of the wisest songs ever is such a small, insignificant, you know, song that we all know. Row, row, row your boat. Life is but a dream. Right? And we're all going down the stream, supposedly, according to this song. And it's like, you just got to keep rowing. So. You got to keep rowing because this is the dream. Life is the dream. And we do. We hold still, we observe, we learn until we gain enough vision and enough intelligence and enough confidence that we can take that next step. And so, you know, it comes in spurts. And life grows in spurts. And you can see that reflected in the seasons. Every season, plants stasis and wither and die and hold tight for a minute, and the next year they come back and bloom even bigger. So it's this constant expansion, contraction, contraction. And the contraction parts, you know, they feel depressive, they feel they can. I've definitely had contraction moments that are that way. I've also had contraction moments that are just like, they feel like rest, you know, and that's fantastic.
Yes.
But I mean, it just seems to be part of the natural world of growth and evolution in all of nature. And I think we're just a reflection of that.
Yeah. So I'm curious, like, what's a dream, you know, for you right now that is up that you're working towards?
I dream to be the most beautiful man in all the land.
Well,
I mean, no
comment.
Obviously, you know, obviously I'm working on bringing this little device out into the world, building a business. I know there's a lot of value here. I know I can help a lot of people. I know I can also generate a good amount of revenue. I am working on, you know, bringing my own confidence, my own voice out into the public arena a little bit. You know, that's a dream. I would love to, you know, just get to spend a lot more of my time just sharing and writing and thinking and really refining my wit, refining my belief structure. You know, another dream is to have a family, you know, and I'm working towards finding the right person and being able to anchor myself in that aspect as well. There's a lot of dreams. I'm dreaming right now. I just inherited a couple violins, and I'm once again rekindling my dream to be a good violinist. And you know, it's
love it.
It's
so love to hear you play.
So you have an idea, you have something that you want to progress in, and then you just start dedicating hours to do that.
Yeah.
You just start stepping outside of your own limitations.
Yeah.
And in those moments, you are effectively pushing upstream. You're effectively pushing outside of the swirl pool.
Yeah.
and going into whatever that next phase might be.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I love that. And so my question is, because I'm going to share a little bit of my dream, but I want to ask a question because, you know, I've been dreaming for a lot of years, and I've moved through I've manifested a lot of dreams in my lifetime. But the beautiful part is there's the spiral. Like I consider myself a spiral weaver, and I'm always like weaving up the spiral to the next level. What is your, like, when you feel the fear or the obstacle or those moments where this is never going to happen or whatever, like what is your one thing or two things or anything that helps you move through that and keep going?
Well, in all honesty, most of the time when I feel that, I'm just like, fuck it, and I don't do anything. It's like, I'm just not going to do anything today. You know, that's cool.
Like, I'm just going to go back to my mediocre life.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, it's comfortable. And
it is.
It's, you know, sure, it's like, I consider myself a pretty courageous guy. I've done some things that, you know, take courage for sure. But it's like, I can't keep that switch flipped on 24/7.
Yeah, no.
It's like,
I don't think anybody can.
I need my stoicism. I need my retreat. I need my meditation. I need my reflection. I need my suffering in some capacity.
Yes.
You know, it's like I just need to fucking. This sucks. You know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I could change that. Maybe I don't need that, and I could let that go. That'd be some therapy to do, maybe eventually with myself. But it's like, you know, that, from an honest standpoint, yeah, typically I'd say like 80% of the time when I'm feeling that, I'm just like, okay, cool, I won't do it then. I guess I'm stuck.
Yeah.
And it's tough also because you're working a full-time job and you're already emotionally and energetically drained, and you don't have a lot more to give, or at least that's the excuse I tell myself. But yeah, I mean, the other moments, there's no real trick. You think, I can't do it, and then you think, okay, I guess I'm not going to do it, and then you think, no, that's bullshit, and then you just do it anyways.
Exactly.
There's no trick. You just have to override your own. You have to override your own predilection to be comfortable.
Yes.
And you have to push into the pain. You have to be like, I don't care that it's uncomfortable. And you know, it's the same thing going to the gym. It's like, you go to the gym, or you go for a 2-mile run or a 5-mile, whatever your limitation is. You go to your limitation, and it's going to hurt a little bit.
Yes.
It's going to hurt.
Yes.
It's going to burn. It's going to break you down. But that is what strengthens you.
Yes.
That is what builds the muscle, brings your cardiovascular system to a higher level, refines the vision of whatever dream it is you're working towards.
Yeah.
Whether it's just like getting a business plan written or whatever it is. It strengthens you, and it also teaches you that, you know, you practice stepping outside your comfort zone enough, and stepping outside your comfort zone becomes comfortable.
Yes.
So if you just do it enough, it gets easier.
Yes, exactly. I think sometimes having a partner or friend or somebody that you can share dreams with that can help hold you accountable has been really helpful in me meeting my dreams. And I think that's what this whole part of this podcast is that we're wanting to bring the idea of that connectedness is how we're going to stay unified and moving forward, you know, as people, and staying healthy, staying alive. And I think that's also true with manifesting dreams. I think that anything that, like, I've done business where I've isolated and it's all me. I wear all the hats. I do everything. I'm not going to share anything with anybody. And it was miserable. And I did do a lot of stuff business-wise, but I think it took twice as long, and I wasted a lot of time in depression. Whereas there's something about connecting with other people, even if it's a group of other business people, and you just come together and say, hey, this is my goal. Help hold me accountable. That it's way more successful, I think, you know. And I love that thought of what I got from what you just said, Dane, is that, you know, you just let the process run. It's like you have faith in the process now. You know it. It's like you have this dream, and now you hit this thing, and you're like, fuck it, I'm tired. It's not going to happen. I'm not going to do anything. And then you sit there and it composts, and then you move to like, well, maybe I'm going to do something. And you think about it, and then you kind of get to that point where you're like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to do it anyway. And I would say that's true for me too. So I think that's a really good tool. And, just accepting and allowing. And then when the right time comes back, then you're ready to make that step again.
Yeah, I think having the dream and having some reflection time and having a vision of that dream to a place where you can actually see that it's achievable, I think that is faith. That is faith. That's saying, like, I believe on some fundamental level that I can achieve this better world, this better existence, this better me in a lot of cases. And so, yeah, so having a dream, having faith in yourself and the world, very important. Also, I think it's one of the most important things for a human being is to have a purpose.
Yes.
Like when you wake up in the morning, if you're waking up and you don't have purpose, you're waking up slow, you don't want to get up. It's like, why would I even do this? It really puts you in a extremely deep quagmire. You're stuck in quicksand. You're stuck in soup.
Yes.
It's like moving in slow motion while frozen. It's just like there's no drive. You need some fucking fire for your engine. You need some fuel. You need a reason. And a lot of people have that reason in family. And a lot of people have that reason in a career path, and a lot of people have whatever reasons they've made. But you have to have that purpose. You have to have some feeling of, I need to get up today because I want to achieve this dream that I have, and it's a very powerful engine for human existence.
Absolutely, yeah. And I just wanted a couple of things. So one of my dreams is that I want to conclude my 30-year-old practice in the Portland Feng Shui Institute, which I'm doing, and move into my new career, which is called Got Shui, the House of Many Rooms, Many Ways, One You, which is going to be more podcasts, teachings, trainings. It's going to be an all virtual online business. And it's been a dream, and it's been, and as all dreams, they maybe start out like, oh, I want a new career, or I want to do podcasts. That's how it kind of started for me. It was like, I wasn't even thinking about doing another business. It was a big broad stroke. When I was walking on the El Camino, I was like, I really want to do podcasts. And then there's all these fears that come up, right? Like, well, why? There's a million podcasts. Who wants to hear what you have to say? It's like, shut up. And it's like, you go through all these things of why you shouldn't and why you can't and why it won't work. And who needs one more book out in the world with what I'm going to write a book, or who needs one more of those? It's like, and you just keep moving through that. And then it got to a point where but I just kept putting the dream out there, right? And then it bloomed through steps and trying, and we started doing this podcast together, and then that led to this new business I'm starting, and that's how it is you just keep focusing on it, and whatever comes up, it's like weeds in a garden. Pull them out, pull those weeds out and clean it, give it a little fertilizer. Okay, now what? Oh, it has to be transplanted into something completely different. Oh, okay. And you just keep tending that dream. And what's interesting is that, and I'm not going to lie, it's like I'm in it right now. Like my business is getting ready to launch its first pod series, and I've been learning like technology, which any of you who know me is a love-hate relationship. And it's been testing me, and there are moments I wake up in the morning and I am in terror. I'm not talking a little bit of fear. I am like in terror of like, what am I doing? Who's going to listen to this? How am I going to make money? I mean, shit just keeps coming up. And I just, like you, I've learned to lean into it. I used to try to distract myself and like, oh, don't think about that. But now I just like, I go right into whatever that suffering is, whatever that pain is. I'm like, I go into it. And I'm like, okay, so what? So what if nobody wants to hear what you have to say? So what if people criticize you? So what if you fall on your face? Like I go to the worst case scenario. I'm not dying. So what? And that always helps me, and I breathe through it. And so that's part of this dream field, is to keep pruning, pulling out the weeds. And then I heard a statement once is like, like courage isn't the absence of fear. It's feeling the fear and then doing it anyway.
Yep, it's a good quote. Yeah, I like the analogy. I mean, ultimately, a dream is an idea, and ideas do start as seeds. So it just takes reflection, it takes observation, it takes watering, it takes nurturing, it takes visualization. And then little by little, you can grow your dream. But it takes conscious attention, and through conscious attention, that means you have to take actions also.
Yeah.
And you can grow it, you can nourish it.
Yeah.
You can bloom, and you can be a mighty redwood if you want.
Yeah, and adaptation I would add in that too. You have to be flexible with your dreams, because as I've learned with my dreams, nothing's linear. The path isn't like A, B, C, D, E. Sometimes I have to tweak it a little bit over here, and then pull it over here. I like the garden thing, because sometimes some plants, it's not doing well in the shade. You got to transplant it somewhere, try it over here, put it in a pot, or, sometimes you have to adapt with your dream.
Put your pot in a pot.
Put your pot in a pot. But, I could talk on and on and on about this, but I want to make sure that we have time for our next topic. But, yeah, I'm fired up, and I'm ready to do some more planting seeds and dreams, and I just want to invite you, wherever you are with your own dreams, it's like, start creating a dream journal. Like that's what I used to do, is I used to write my dreams down in a journal and review it and then change it and paint about it and, like do art around it, or, there's a million different ways to start discovering who you are and what you want, but it takes that spending time with yourself. Dreams don't happen by not looking at yourself, and you got to spend time with it, whatever your dream is.
Yeah, and a good part of discovering what it is that you want, what it is that your dream ultimately is by, like you said, figuring out what you don't want. Just whatever dream you have right now, go for it. If it's not the right dream, well, you're going to learn, and you're going to, refine that vision.
Yeah. Love it. Cool. I'm excited. Yay. Let's go dream. Here's your dreams, my friend. Boom.
Right. I think I have more coffee.
Yeah. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break. We'll see you back here in a minute on Everything and Nothing. Hi, everybody. It's Anezka here. I am the founder of Got Shui, the house of many rooms, many ways, one you. Come home to yourself. This is my new business. I just want to say I'm really excited because I am recording my first 3-part series called The Living Pattern. This is going to be a free offering, although free, there's that generative, like, bring your energy as your exchange for this offering. It's going to be starting May 12th. It's going to be my premiere download of my first podcast series. And The Living Pattern is about remembering who you are, learning how through this series of how to pause and listen to yourself, to recognize your own living pattern of your coherence that already exists inside of you. And then the third series is embodying that embodiment, which will create whatever that next step in you that wants to be formed in manifestation out of the world. So this 3-part series called The Living Pattern. Please check it out. You can go to my YouTube channel to subscribe. We will post that down below in the link. Go subscribe, follow me. And also today, if you love this podcast, please like it and subscribe. And I'll look forward to seeing more of you later. Thank you so much. What's going on? Wow, this sounds so much better.
Yes.
I love the sound. Sound is so important.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I think
especially for these kinds of things.
For a discussion where you're actually kind of like thinking through processes.
Yeah.
I think the sound is much more important than video.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
for
you
sure.
don't need to see this. Especially the thing is too, like I spend a lot of time like on the job site or driving listening to podcasts, and like you can't watch.
You can't. You just listen. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So this is for people who their dream is living at home and they have time to...
This is round 2. Round 2. Intermission over.
Yeah, part 2. Yeah. So that was a good conversation. I feel very inspired and motivated.
Good.
To think more about my dreams. So, segueing.
Yeah. Second part, I have a topic.
Yeah.
And the topic is freedom.
Oh, wow. Did we do freedom before?
I don't know. I don't remember. I guess the topic is remembering. I don't think we did freedom. You probably did. I mean, everything kind of relates to some degree.
That's true. That's true.
If I did it, oh, well, here we go again.
Let's do it again. Well, I mean, it fits well with a dream. You know,
does.
Dreams can create freedom in so many levels.
I think one of my main dreams is to be free. Mm-hmm. But that's the question: is what does that mean? What is freedom? What are you being freed from? Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts, and how would you describe freedom yourself?
Freedom is this spaciousness of being able to be authentically who you are, how you want to be in the world, and being able to freely move and do and speak and flow in the ways that are in alignment with who you are and what you want in the world.
So expression.
Yeah.
Being able to express yourself, being able to speak, being able to practice, being able to
travel, being able to do anything that feels like it's lined up with who you are and how you want to be in the world, that you can be, do, and have it. That's freedom to me.
Yeah, I agree. So what prohibits freedom, would you say?
Well, the first thing that comes up, I mean, there's two things. I was raised by my father, who it's the government is to blame for everything. That's the first one.
Damn straight.
Sorry, that one, I was milk-fed on conspiracy. So that's the first one. And the second one that comes up is more my evolved self, which is myself. I would say the bigger obstacle to anything that is keeping me from feeling free or being free is my own limitations. It's my own inner critic, my own judgment, my own self-suppression of creating prisons and boxes for myself that say, oh, you can't do this. You can't go there.
Perfect.
You can't be that.
I think that's the end of the discussion. That's pretty much exactly what I wanted to say. So thank you for joining us. Yeah,
Have a great day.
I agree. I think obviously pointing your fingers at the government or institutes
or anybody else,
whatever tyrant might be in your life, even if like a family member is being overbearing. Yeah. But ultimately, like the opposite of freedom, I think in our society, the word that sums up the best is slavery, right?
Oppression was the word I thought.
You are under the ownership, you are under the control of some other authority figure. Mm-hmm. And in our society, to some degree, we are, right? We do relinquish powers to our civil order, to our government, to our police, to our system of law.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Yeah.
And that's a civil contract that we've all entered into, I guess. I never signed the papers, but it does make sense in many situations. But you only really lack freedom when you're in a mindset that accepts servitude. You're never a slave until you accept being a slave. When you believe you're a slave, when you believe that you have no power, when you believe you're a victim, you are all those things, and you do relinquish your own self-ability. Because it's like, once again, we come back to this word God, and it's a big word. It's a tough one to digest. I really don't understand it. But one thing is certain, and I think they said this, the people that, were very smart and made our country in the beginning of the days, they said the freedom of speech is a God-given right. And I think what that means is that it's just self-evident. You can speak, therefore that is your right to be able to speak. You can't constrain that. I can dance, I can move, I can breathe. Therefore, you cannot regulate my freedom to walk and dance and breathe. Those are just things that I am innately able to do in the natural world. And you can't regulate what's naturally correct. And it gets a lot more complicated than that. But I think that's a good starting point as just a way to define freedom and how you would lose it through just believing that you don't have it.
Yeah. And I think it's a very complex issue, right? Because I think it's very macrocosm and microcosm, and there's all these layers in between of freedom. Because, I mean, the ultimate one I think of is like, okay, we're born and we're going to die. Like, there's not much freedom in that. The contract's coming up, right? But again, that if I take it down to that microcosm, I can choose though and find freedom in how I'm going to live my life, knowing that that's the way it's going to come. I have freedom in how am I going to accept death, and how I'm going to, portray my life in every aspect until that moment, which is inevitable, is going to come up to, it's going to, the time is due, right? And I really learned that lesson a lot when I was in, going through my cancer ordeal. It's like, I felt like a lot of my freedom was stripped. I couldn't do this. I couldn't eat that. I couldn't do, there's so much that I felt completely imprisoned by that whole experience. But what could never be imprisoned was my thought, was my heart, was my soul, was how I was going to look at, deal with every day the situation that came up. And some days I failed miserably. I was like complete victim and crying and moaning and like, I can't do this. And other days I was completely free, and then I'm like accepting and compliant and could breathe through it. I mean, I was all over the map with that experience, but it really did taught me freedom is in any moment how we choose to deal with whatever the situation is.
And that's a good point too, is that, we are free beings. We are free to express ourselves, but there are absolutely, universal laws that constrain us. Like, we are not free from gravity. Nope. You jump, you're going to come back down, at least as far as I've discerned,
Yes.
So we are within a limited sphere of action, but within those limitations, freedom is being able to extend to those ultimate extremes. That being said, too, there are physical limitations that humanity has thought have been impossible to break over and over again. Like, you look at sports, it's like nobody can ever run a 5-minute mile, Nobody can ever run a 2-hour marathon. Nobody can ever, jump over this certain bar height. Nobody can ever do a 900 on a skateboard in a half pipe. And time again, we might not be able to completely transcend these natural limitations, but we do keep pushing the barriers further and further through hard work and through belief.
Yes.
So even the physical constraints, such as gravity and such as potentially even death, can have those limitations stretched, I think, just through practice and belief and a willingness.
Yeah, and an openness. Again, it's that mind expansion, right? Absolutely. And then taking it to another turn, because and I know we have talked about this, but there was a time when I thought that, I'm free in the United States. I can do whatever I want. I can start a business. I can do this. I can do that, and what I've learned that is, yes, I'm free as long as I follow this set of rules that they've set for me. As long as I stay in this box, I'm free. And as long as I pay my taxes, I'm free. And as long as I don't do too much propaganda, either too much negative towards this thing, I'm free. And as long as I don't revolt and, it's like, yes, there's this.
So what you're saying is you're not free, really.
Right. It's like there are a lot of limitations to our physical freedom. Like people listening in on my phone. I mean, there's a lot. However, again, what has helped me even through those things, because when I was first opening up, and this has been many years ago to all that stuff, I went through a really deep depression and a hopelessness of what's the effing point again? Because, I'm not really free. I mean, on some level, but again, what helped me kind of traverse that was that coming back to but no one has the power over my thought of who I am and what I think and how I'm going to let this affect me, right? And so again, I brought that freedom back into my sense of self, and it's regardless of what the rules are, I am choosing to live a free life, and I'm going to continue to break the bounds of creating a beautiful life. I'm going to find joy and friendship, and I'm going to be highly creative. And, and a lot of people used to, poo-poo, used to be not spiritual to make money, it was not very godly. And I just blew that out of the water. I'm that's a bunch of bullshit, because I'm I want to create money, because money is then I can use all that money to do a lot of good in the world. And so, so that's where I take these constraints and take it back into my body and my mind and my soul, and stay free by, changing myself and not letting it get me down.
I think, so we're definitely in a civilization. We are in a collection of people. Mm-hmm. And one of the complications that arises is that we can't let our freedom violate somebody else's freedom, right? So
yeah,
I have the freedom to play my drums, and I love playing drums on my drum kit, hypothetically, so I just play drums all day. I live in an apartment, and my neighbor right next door, they have the freedom to be able to go to sleep when they want, right? Or do they? What if I like my drums at 12 o'clock, midnight? So it gets there gets compromise that needs to be looked at, right? Yeah. Obviously, there's extreme examples such as, actual violation and murder and taking advantage of people on an extreme level. And, I'm not free to go on a killing rampage. I mean, technically I am. Like, physically, you could go out there and you could do that. Yeah. But there needs to be a consequence for actions that limitate other people's freedom to exist and to express and to live within their own domains as well. So it does get complicated, because do you impose a curfew? You can't play drums after a certain hour because that's taking away the drummer's freedom? Or do you say, hey, deal with it, Granny. You ain't going to sleep when you want to sleep. Just put in some earmuffs and, try that. It's like,
I think that's,
It's complicated for sure. And there's going to be no perfect solution. So law is necessary. That being said, excessive law is kind of a domain we live in right now. We do live in a matrix of law and order, which is not necessarily based in any sort of benevolence or justice. It's kind of, a lot of it's arbitrary, and especially on a macro level, a lot of it's there to tilt the playing field for the gain of people that actually write the laws. If you had the power to write law and to make the rules, when you're playing, Monopoly, the board game, if you could change the rules, you're going to win. And if the goal is to win, you're probably going to change the rules. And so you get that a lot happening in legislature and in our system of law as it is. So law is unjust in a lot of cases, and we end up trapped in this, like you said, governmental control, which is theoretically helping the old lady sleep and the drummer drum, but it ends up really kind of contorting and being more of a master-servant relationship, which I think is what your father and a lot of conspiracy theorists and a lot of just rational people these days are coming to realize. Yeah. So I think in that context, that we can agree that we're not free from gravity, we're not free from death, and we're not free from
law.
Yeah, taxation. So I guess instead of the two certainties are death and taxation, we can say the three certainties are gravity, death, and taxes.
There's the play, Death and Taxes.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. Well, and again, it's like what helps me and what I come back to again and again and again with all of this is like, can I create my own freedom for myself? And I think that this, for me anyway, a big part of freedom is also, it isn't like moving out of this separation model where it's just me or you. Going back to the golden rule, I think, is a part of freedom for me. It isn't just about me and mine anymore. Like, I'm really like starting to think globally. I'm starting to think more community-wise. Like, my needs, I feel, truthfully, are better met when the collective needs are met. Because there's just a sense of harmony and goodness. It's like the golden rule. Do unto others as you would want to do unto them. So if you're playing your violin, which was a violin, and there was a lady upstairs like, it's playing too much violin, I can't sleep. Remember? And it's like that creates a friction. And it's like, we're like, I think of us as like spheres, right? We're all these like round spheres, but we're very connected. And my goal is I want to resonate and harmonize with all the spheres around me, because then that's a freedom. Because then there's like this strength of like, everybody's getting their needs met. Everybody's getting nourished. Everybody's feeling a sense of freedom. And that's what cooperation is, right? I think that's the future, at least where I'm moving forward. And that's the kind of freedom I want. It isn't just the freedom that I get everything I want when I want it. I don't think that's true freedom. I think freedom is living in a community where everybody is nourished and everybody is resonating and harmonizing and everybody is getting their needs met, and we work together. I push, you pull. You weave and I dodge. It's like there's this, it's like a dance. Freedom for me is beginning to look more like a world dance where we're all just kind of dancing instead of, the punk, mosh pits where you're just trying to crash in and hurt each other. You're trying to just like
trampled by the crowd.
Yeah, like the mosh pit. And it's got its place too, I guess. That's just not my thing anymore. I don't want to get in and get beat up and punch people and, all that stuff. It's not my...
Put them up.
Yeah.
And It's I mean, civilization, I think, when you live in live in close proximity with other people, there has to be a social contract. There has to be some sort of law and order. There has to be some sort of agreement so we can trust each other, so we can understand each other, so we can navigate each other more effectively. And so, like, having traffic laws, for example, makes sense. We all drive on the right side of the road, because if that wasn't a law and you just drove wherever you want, things would be a lot more chaotic. It'd be a lot less efficient. Everything would be a lot more dangerous and take a lot more time. So there are, rules of engagement, rules of navigation, rules of social norms, which, have naturally evolved without even being written down, just throughout all of human history. There's just been things that are unspoken that we just know. It's common sense. And so we have this idea of freedom. I guess the next question is, how do we become more free, right? So we are restrained, we are contained, and on a very fundamental level, we're also leached off of, right? So we have people in power who, unfortunately, the majority of us believe have control over us because we voted for them, therefore we gave them our power. And these people are using their positions to basically funnel tons of our money. I work, 3 to 4 months every year, effectively for free, just to pay taxes, which majority goes to military efforts and, 1,000% markups on pharmaceutical drugs for Medicare and Medicaid. And, terrible education systems, which keep eroding and they keep dumping more money into for worse results somehow. So I'm effectively being scammed and exploited as a servant, as a slave in a system to some degree. And I don't accept that. I do not accept it. Therefore, I am free. But the question I keep coming back to is, how do I embody that freedom? How do I become more of what it is that I believe?
Yeah, and I'm trying to think about how, because once you embody the freedom of like, I am not a part of that, to me, the next step is, how can I use my power, my skills, my gifts, my energy, my voice to then be the change to create the freedom outside just the concept of like, oh, I'm not going to accept this anymore. I don't, this is not what I agreed to. I get it. I think that's the first step, is you consciously make that choice. It's like, no, this is not freedom to me. I want something different. I want something better. And it looks like this. And then step 2 is, then how do you start using all your resources and your community and your voice and your money to vote in a different way? And I mean, vote with your money, how you spend your money, vote with where you show up, how you vote, in general, but how you volunteer, like where are you going to put your time, energy, and resources?
Yeah.
That's the next step of freedom, I think, is being sovereign and taking responsibility. And rather than criticizing, like, oh, they're doing this and we can't do it. It's like, that's a waste of time and energy. It's just a complete waste of time. It serves nothing. It helps nothing. It just creates more of the same crap. So instead, take that voice and energy. What can you do? What can you focus on? What can you change? Write letters to your senator. I mean, anything. Like, right? I mean, I don't know. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I mean,
create more freedom.
Take action. I mean, I think this parallels your topic a lot, right? You have a dream, you have to have a vision, and then you have to act towards it, just like with any dream that you'd have. And I guess this is one of my dreams. One of my dreams is to be more free, to be more, to expressing myself in a way that I find to be authentic and to be acting for a greater good rather than for a greater, pestilence.
Yes.
And I mean, you bring up voting. Voting is one of the main genius pieces of architecture that I think keeps us trapped in, because by giving us a choice, by giving us a false choice, let's be real, because both choices are ran by the same banks and the same military complexes and by the same lobbying groups. So you're given a choice, and so you choose something, so you feel invested. You do feel like it's your choice, and and you buy in with your power. It's like, I chose this, we chose this, therefore it has power over us. But the choice was a lie to begin with. People have told me since, I was able to vote, it's like, oh, just vote for the lesser evil. And then you step back and you're like, wait, hold on. So why am I voting for an evil? So I'll be honest, I don't vote. I voted once. I voted for Obama the first election. He broke my heart, lied to me. I voted for Bernie Sanders in a primary. I have not voted on a presidency since then because they're terrible options. How are you going to vote for an evil, period? But I'm getting off the rails a little bit here.
Yeah. It's easy to do with this topic, but it is definitely deeply rooted into the topic of freedom. And all good questions. And like I said, I always bring it back to what can I do in my community? I always bring it back to what can I do in my family first, because they're the closest places that I can make change, influencing my grandchildren, helping my children, my siblings, and then I go to my community. Like, where can I volunteer? Like, Jim and I are constantly talking about how we can be supportive with, homelessness and programs and helping in that capacity and donating. And, I keep looking for like root causes of where I can help maybe create some change and freedom. Because I don't think it's going to happen from the top down. I think it's going to happen from the bottom up.
It has to.
And I feel like it's already happening. There's a lot of grassroots programs in a lot of communities where people are just taking the power and like, hey, we're creating tiny home communities for homeless. People are stepping up and being like, we're not waiting around for the government, because the government is only interested in their own money and power. So we have to do it. And that's part of the freedom, is I think taking back that control. And then again, research, observe, how can you make that change?
Yeah, I guess just remember, outside of death and gravity, you are absolutely free.
Yeah.
Natural order, natural law. We are free beings.
Yep.
We make our own decisions. We choose our words. We think our thoughts, and we build our world.
Yeah.
So, do that.
Do that. Yeah. And find causes to invest in.
Sure.
That are part of that freedom dream for you, whatever that is.
Yeah, find free thinking good people and work towards something.
Join them. That's a lot. My brain is tired.
All right, well, that's
I'm
about time.
Tired. Anyway, talking takes energy, guys.
It does.
Anyway, this has been good. I got more to process.
Good.
The next 2 weeks.
Yep.
Oh gosh. Well, thank you for being here with us. Anything else you want to say before we sign off?
Just another adventure. It's been a good one. Become an expert in you.
Yeah. And just think about your dreams, think about your freedom, step out, face your fear, grab that courage. I don't know. Have a cup of coffee with somebody, share a conversation. We're just so glad that you're here with us. And until next time, be well.
See you down the road.
Blessings.
All right.
All right.
All right.